Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel. My name is Josh. I sell used books, CDs, and DVDs online on platforms like eBay and Amazon. That is what I do full-time to support my family. Let's move this tripod. This is going to be annoying, sorry. There we go. Sorry, I meant to do that. Anyways, Monday morning, we've got orders to ship out. I think this says 45 shipments to do. Hopefully that is correct. But yeah, we're just going to jump into it, start shipping out some things, and showing you guys what's sold. I did have a topic for today I wanted to talk about at least a little bit before I start just rambling too much. Real quick, for shipping out breakables, this is a 78 record. Buyer is all in $28.25, a little bit lower than I like to be on these, but it's fine. It's fine. We are kind of accepting some offers, moving out some 78s. Yeah, making space. Although honestly, selling a 78 record doesn't grant me any extra space. I keep them stored in 3 milk crates, and I could always just add another milk crate right on top of it. So it's taking up the same amount of square footage. Really, no matter how many of these I have. But anyways, at least making some money. Topic for today that I want to talk about is how I deal with old, stale inventory, things that have been listed a long time. If you've been watching the channel for a while, you will know that I've got a lot of stuff in my eBay store that has been there 2+ years, 3+ years, potentially 4 years. And what do I do to deal with that type of stuff? Because eventually you do need to deal with some of that stuff. Sorry for the loud paper noise. Let me get one more piece. So, some questions I get a lot of the time is like, is it worth it to keep that stuff listed? Or should you just take it down and donate it? Like, what do you do? So my opinion is I have already put almost all the work it takes into making the money from that item. So as long as I have the space, which that is something to very much consider, as long as I have the space for that item, I'm going to keep it around, keep it in my store. Yes, the price on that item is probably too high, and that's something we're going to talk about in just a minute. However, I've done everything except for ship it out, so I might as well keep it in the store if there's even at least a decent chance of it selling eventually. Up next, The King and the Kingdom. Buyer paid $17.22. So because of that, I like to keep things listed in my store. I do go through my store from time to time and look at the oldest items and see if I need to pull them down, which I'll talk about how I do that exactly in just a few minutes. But in general, the philosophy of my store is as long as I have the space, which I still have the space in here. It's pretty full. Like, you can see these shelves behind me. Like, we're pretty much backed up to inventory here. But I am not this week going to not be able to list stuff because I don't have the space. Next week, I'm good also. And as long as things keep selling at the current rate they're selling at, I'm going to be fine for the next few months, as long as things keep selling. Now, if things were to quit selling, yeah, we'd be in trouble. But they do keep selling. Just going to print. There it is. So, how I deal with old, stale inventory. I do a few things. Number one, I do promoted listings in my store. I can't remember the exact percent I have it at right now. I kind of tweak it from time to time, but it's right around that 3% mark. You know, just keep it a little bit above 2, which is the minimum. And I will increase that percentage if I'm needing more sales. And the only reasons we can need more sales are for 2 reasons. Number 1, I need more cash flow, or number 2, I need more space. So if I see myself needing more space or more cash flow, increasing my promoted listings is something I might do. And I think of all these different things to do as just like different levers you can pull on your store to kind of get them moving faster. Promoted listings is one of those levers that you can pull on. Increase the promoted listing percent. Things will sell faster. I'm not saying you're going to make more money, but things will sell faster. I don't put promoted listings on things at the very beginning. Usually I go through every month or 2 months and just promote everything that has not been promoted. I like to try and give it a little bit of time to sell on its own. And if it doesn't sell on its own after a while, then I'll throw on promoted listings. Up next, A Bedside Odyssey. Translated by Gerald Williams. It's hard to get these out of. I'm like kind of wedged in there. I think we'll be good now. Buyer is all in $11.47. We're going to ship this out bound printed matter using VQuo, which is linked down in the description below, for $3.95. So make a couple dollars. Oh, what was I saying? So promoted listings, that is one lever. Offers is another lever that I can pull. I can get more aggressive with the offers that I send out on my older items. Also more aggressive with the offers I accept on the older items. So just being more aggressive sending and accepting offers. That's another lever? I cannot say lever today. It's another thing you can pull to get things moving out of your store. That's something I do quite frequently. I'm not seeing this. Did I pull the right one? Oh, here it is. I was looking at the wrong one. I sold 2 Texas cookbooks over the weekend. This one is the Northeast Texas Rural Heritage Museum cookbook from Pittsburgh, Texas. Buyer paid $25.21. Let's see where it's going. Probably going to Texas. So offers is something else we can do, and that I do quite frequently in the store. Typically, I'm sending out offers of 15% off, but if I want to get aggressive, we'll up that to 18, 20% off. If I see something's very old, I might send a very aggressive offer, 40, 50% off, if the thing's been listed 3-4 years. And I'm more likely to accept those types of offers if the thing has been listed that long. Up next, Castle Views. This is some sort of yearbook. Buyer is all in $42. Fort Worth, Texas. I think I bought this from the same person I bought that last cookbook from. And I think I have another cookbook that I also bought from them that's going to be shipping out in a little bit. Or maybe I didn't pull that cookbook. I don't know. I tried to pull orders last night because I knew today was going to be a little bit crazy. I had to go buy a bunch of like N64 games, N64, Wii, some Pokemon cards. That sort of like fun stuff. Not the type of stuff I usually put in the store. But they also had some books, a couple CDs, a couple pieces of silver. So yeah, some fun stuff. Let's get this shipped out. Another lever I like to pull a lot, and probably what I use the most in my store for getting rid of old inventory, is markdown sales. There's basically kind of 2 different types of markdown sales that I can run in my store. Number one is where I go and actually select items, which when you select items individually, you can select up to like 2,000 per basically sale. And that is something I will use in my store to mark down the oldest inventory. I'll take the oldest 2,000 items in my store, and usually at the beginning of the month, like the 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, I will start a sale, 30 to 50% off the oldest stuff in my store. And that percentage will be lower if I'm not needing the cash flow or the space as much. That percentage will be higher if I'm needing more space or I'm needing more cash flow. Also, a lot of times in December, I will up that percentage. I'll talk a little bit about that, more about why in a little bit, when we talk about kind of my reset I do in January. But to prepare for my January reset, I'll up that percentage in November and December sometimes. Another cookbook, Pueblo West Eagles Auxiliary. So yeah, another little cookbook. Let's just search it. Where is this one? It looks like it's down here. There it is. Yep, buyer is all in $18.72. So maybe after that one has ran a while, that first markdown sell of the oldest 2,000 items, I might go into the next 2,000 oldest items and do another markdown sell that's not as aggressive, maybe 20 to 30%, maybe 15 to 40%, just kind of depending on how aggressive I'm wanting to do. And I'll continue doing that throughout the month, every week, 5 days, however often I need to or want to. I'll go in and create another sell of the next oldest 2,000 items, being less aggressive with the newer items, more aggressive with the older items. Also, I will sometimes run a markdown sell on the entire store, even like stuff I just listed like that day. And those can be very effective. I typically will do those as just like a 10% off sale. And typically those will only run for 48 hours. Whereas my other markdown sales, the ones for the old inventory only, those will run till the end of the month. That way at the end of the month I can reset things and get them re-going. Up next, sewing machine manual. Buyer paid $16.51. There we go. Kind of like a book. A manual for a sewing machine. There we go. I actually find those quite often. Oh, this is kind of neat. Old Time Punishments by William Andrews. Yeah, like lots of different stuff in here. Lots of illustrations. Sold that book. So yeah, markdown sales is a big part, probably the biggest part of how I move old inventory and just basically get it out of my store when I need to. If you start getting really aggressive with the oldest 10 to 20% of items in your store, it's amazing how quickly you can get that stuff moving. This book, that Old Time Punishment book, buyer paid $16.70. And then the last thing I typically do, which I think that's all the levers I typically pull. I do not do an end and sell similar. I don't do an end and relist. And that's because of my January reset that I like to do. Every year, January, first week of the year, I like to kind of just go over the health of my store. Part of that is just doing inventory, making sure the stuff in here is actually listed. Typically, I won't go through a whole store inventory, but I'll do like a couple of shelves or a couple of locations. But also during that time, probably the most important thing I will do is I'm going to go through the oldest 10% of items in my store and take a very hard look at them. Actually put my hands on those items, look at the listings and say, are these too expensive? Is this something that I just should never have listed, never have purchased, something I should be throwing away right now or donating or whatever? Or is this an item that just needs more time? And basically, I have a number of different options I can do at that point. I can just end it and relist it, and typically with like my sewing machine parts or like yearbooks or maybe other very specialty books that just need more time, those I'll just end and relist. If it's something that I think the price is more likely the problem on it, and it's not necessarily just waiting for the right buyer, I'm not going to end that listing. What I'm going to do is just drop the price on it very dramatically, typically 50%. And note, this is an item that probably has been on like 30 to 40% off sale quite frequently over the last 12 months. So I'm going to put it on 50% off sale. And then in addition, over the course of the next year, it's probably going to be on another 30 to 40% off sale quite frequently. So the item of this has dropped a lot from its initial price. Up next, Holy Bible, King James Version. Giant print. It does have somebody's name there on the front. Buyer paid $17.97. Add a little piece of cardboard to this, just because like not a lot of rigidity and some of these old leather Bibles. You like selling them. So yeah, every year January, go through the oldest 10% of my store and just deal with it. Dropping the prices, maybe retaking photos if that's a big issue, but more than likely than not, it's ending and relisting, checking prices, all that type of stuff. A very small percentage of that stuff, though, does get pulled out of the store. Sometimes the stuff just gets built into lots. Maybe I take a cassette tape out that the market of the cassette tape is now $3, and I don't feel like selling it for that. So I will just pull them out and sell it in a lot of cassettes or a lot of CDs or whatever that may be. This is a cassette. Kidding Around with Greg and Steve. Buyer is all in $11.97. Let's see, we're 15 minutes in this. Let's talk about bubble mailers real quickly. Bubble mailers. Gyropack sent me these. I get these from Gyropack. Sometimes I buy them. Sometimes they send me some, so I will talk to you guys about them. Gyropack is my sole provider of bubble mailers and poly bags. They have some of the best prices around. I have done a lot of shopping around over the years, and just sometimes you can find cheaper prices. But when you're finding cheaper prices, especially on the poly bags, what that means is you're getting something super duper thin. But Gyropack, they are one of the largest sellers of poly bags and bubble mailers on Amazon, and getting them straight from their website is the way to go. If you never ordered from their website before, you can use the code GRAFF10 to get 10% off your first order with them, GRAFF10. I also have a link in the description down below. If you use that link, it doesn't cost you anything extra, but it does go to help out my channel and me just a little bit. So if you want to use that link, help me out. That's absolutely great. Here we have the Holiness of God. This is an R.C. Sproul Bible study. Yeah. Buyer paid $14.47 for it. But yeah, bubble mailers, Gyropack. Use the link in the description. And they're also having a really good Black Friday sale coming up. I'm going to be taking advantage of that, ordering some more of these like larger black ones. I'm getting kind of low on them. I like having different colors for my different sizes, so I can quickly see over here where I have them all stored which ones I need to reorder. I see a bunch of purple ones over there, which are my smallest size, so I'm not going to reorder those this time. But I do not see very many black ones, so I'm going to order a bunch of my big black ones. So Gyropack, check them out. Up next, we've got another Bible. I almost didn't list this. I couldn't find anything on it, but I just thought, you know what, that's pretty cool. It's just the New Testament, but it's parallel. So on this side right here, let's see, this side right here is in English, and then this side right here is in Scottish. So I thought that was pretty neat. It's translated by some guy. Usually don't like one-person translations, but a Scottish translation just sounded so cool. We listed it for $20 plus shipping. What did the buyer pay? Where is it? The buyer is all in $22.47. So it looks like I accepted probably about a 15% off offer. And then after shipping and taxes, it landed at $22.47. So not bad. I don't know. Just fun. Just like selling that type of stuff. Oh, one more book left. I know somebody out there right now saying, is all this guy sell is books? I guess we shipped out one cassette already. But a lot of books this morning. Last book we have here, West Hampton Recipes. Look at that, Recipes. Signed. Since it's signed, let's add a piece of cardboard. West Hampton Recipes. Where is this one? I don't see it. All right, here. Buyer paid $20.22 to get this shipped to them. Yeah, sales this weekend I think were pretty good. They felt pretty good. I did not sell quite as much disc media as I would have liked, but all in all, still good. Let's talk about my plan for this week. It is currently the week before Thanksgiving week. The week of Thanksgiving, I usually pretty much take off. I don't do any listings or anything like that. I might do some shipping that week. I'm not 100% sure where my schedule is going to fall that week. But let's talk about this week first. But this week is kind of getting prepared for next week. We're definitely going to be putting my store on vacation mode next week. But I still might do some shipping. Anyways. Oh, these bubble mailers are way back here. I need to move them. Oh, Leslie Sansone's Walk Slim 4 Fast Miles. The listing for this DVD, I've not been able to make an Amazon listing for it lately. Don't know what's going on with that listing, but it just seems like the Amazon listing is not working for me. So, we sold this one on eBay. Buyer paid $15.79. So plan for this week. It's getting towards the end of my List Easier subscription for the month, the time it renews, and I'm almost out. I don't feel like upgrading this month because basically, like, I'm not going to do any listings next week. So I might as well I'm just going to do whatever I have left on there this week with List Easier, which best AI listing software out there right now. I'm just going to use up all of my listings, and then after that, we're just going to work on some miscellaneous stuff we got laying around here. We've got one sewing machine that needs taken apart. I picked up an N64 and a Wii, so I need to test out both of those, make sure those work. I've got one pocket knife to list that's like a $300 pocket knife. I've also got like a $150 hat that I need to list. So we do have some good looking stuff to list, but most of it's not going to be my normal media this week. I think I have around 100, maybe 150 listings left on List Easier, so we'll just use those up. I've got a whole bunch of DVDs and a whole bunch of CDs waiting to be listed. I didn't even show you the last DVD. The last one was like Suicide Prevention that a buyer paid like $20 for. This one is... not seeing it. Let me refresh this page. Did I pull the wrong one? I'm not seeing this at all. Okay, let's just do this one. We Still in the Streets, Volume 3. Buyer paid $60 plus shipping on this. $60. Let's do a little extra bubble wrap and throw it into a bigger mailer. Don't usually do this with DVDs, but we're at that $60 mark. Might as well. Some people would probably throw this in a box. But yeah, buyer is in $64.99 for We Still in the Streets Volume 3. But this weird media stuff that like does not have an Amazon listing is something that I want to really double down on going into 2026. Amazon is fine. But I want to spend less time sourcing for Amazon. Still doing the Amazon stuff that comes through in bulk lots, that comes through my normal supply chains, but not going out and cherry picking for Amazon as much. That's what I want to do in 2026. I want to be getting high-speed DVD in, paying almost nothing for it, and selling it for the buyers all in $26.02. Now, this type of stuff, when you're listing this, it's not all going to sell. It's definitely not all going to sell right away. But when one item sells for $26 and you bought a whole bunch of them for like 50 cents a piece, this one item can pay for like a whole box full of other stuff. So I want to continue working on relationships where I can get more of this stuff coming in. Mostly relationships with other Amazon sellers that don't want to mess with this eBay type stuff. They don't want to mess with this. They don't want to mess with Adam Wilder dealing with Phototech. Yeah, that's the right shipping label. I had to stop myself for a second. But this is the type of stuff I want to be trying to get more of in 2026. I've got one guy sending me a whole bunch. I've got a second guy starting to send me some now. And I've got 3 others that I'm trying to start getting me to send some stuff. Dealing with Phototech, buyer paid $32.71 for this great DVD right here. But yeah, that's my plan for the week. Do every single listing I can that I have left on List Easier before I run out for the month. It will refresh during the week of Thanksgiving when I'm not doing listings anyways. And then probably next month I will need to upgrade that subscription to the next level, since we are just doing more and more listings. But I can get away with it for one more month because we have miscellaneous stuff laying around that needs to be gotten through anyways. Especially that sewing machine that's been sitting up there forever. So, next week, like I said, no listings. I am going to be going and buying out an entire library. I think I'm getting it for free, not buying it. So, I'm picking up a library. Now, that sounds like a lot of books, but this library has been closed since like, I don't know, 60s, 70s or something ridiculous. And I'm not sure how much is it. I don't think there's too much there. I think it can all fit in my trailer / inside the Expedition. I think between those two things, I can fit it all from looking at the pictures. Oh, this is some Mexican CD, Banda R15. Buyer paid $16.99. Another one of those items where there was none listed, so I priced it at $20. Somebody offered me $12, and I said, sure. Why not? Let's do it. Up next, I'm out of bubble mailers. But I had backups over here, so I knew that was going to happen. Let's just set those right there for now. Once we get everything else off here, we'll go. This is just titled Bad Things. Some like, it's self-titled. It does have a barcode on the back. Buyer paid $9.72. Not very much. Let's see. Media mail still the cheapest way to ship CDs right now. Ooh, up next, Mercy Me. I think this is their first CD they put out. The Worship Project. Buyer paid $36.99 for this one. Most Mercy Me CDs are not worth much, but I'm guessing from the price of this one, it's the first thing they put out. Once again, something where I don't believe there was an Amazon listing, so I'm getting it sold on eBay, making some money that way. And I'm still going to ship it media mail. So yeah, I'm going to get that library next week. Really looking forward to that. It's got old books. Lots and lots of old books. I did see one tote. So all the old books should pretty much be eBay by looking at what's there. But I did see one tote that looked like it was completely filled with Sweet Valley High. I think that's the name. Yeah, Sweet Valley High books. And those should do really good. So I'm excited about those. Those might actually be Amazon stuff, but I think everything else in there looked to me, from the pictures, like it was going to be eBay stuff. Up next, Stan Gerber Inspiration. Are you listing that on eBay? I did. I got $20.29. So yeah, really looking forward to that. I may film that. I might not. I don't know. We will see. But this library is from a very small town, like 200 to 500 people type of deal. That has been closed down forever, and at this point they're needing it gone because they need the space so that they can do other things with the space. So I'm going to go help them out, get them some space, get me some books, and it's just a win-win for everybody. Up next, what is this? Woodsong Flutes Native Blues by Hank Littlejohn. Still sealed. Buyer paid $26.24. All right, that looks like it for our traditional media stuff. I think what I'm going to do now is just show you guys everything else that we sold. I am kind of running behind today. Actually, I'm very much running behind today because our internet was down first thing this morning. It's a lovely Monday morning. Also had to go make that purchase of that N64 stuff, that Wii stuff that we talked about a little bit earlier. I think it's some good stuff. I don't know. Nothing great, but lots of good stuff, you know. Super Mario 64, all that type of stuff. But anyways, let me show you guys what else we sold. We did sell another record. Kansas. Right? Is that what that is? Yeah, Kansas. Font's weird on there. I had to second guess myself for a second. We sold this. I got this in a big buy of Harley parts. Harley parts that we did. Oh gosh. A year and a half ago? 2 years ago? One baseball card. Don Bolbeg? I don't know. Here is a power supply board to a fax machine that we sold for like $5 plus shipping. I think there's like 3 or 4 sewing machine parts right here. Here's a lot of pop music CDs. Not a genre that I bundle together anymore. Part of an old experiment that did not go good. Here is a lot of... What type of CDs are these? Oh, these are all like contemporary Christian. That is a lot that I currently make that does good. Let me see what these sold for real quick for you. Somebody's going to be asking. 60 CDs sold for $48.72. Here's an old Christmas sweatshirt with like hand-painted design on it. Wilson jacket of some sort. 3 pairs of jeans. I haven't listed jeans in my store in forever, and I still, every weekend we're selling jeans. We've got, we didn't break them, 10 of these like bread and butter China. China is starting to move again. If you have China unlisted and you like to sell China, now is the time of year to be listing this. People are buying it for Thanksgiving, Christmas, all that type of stuff. Get your China listed if you have it. We sold a clock. Had this thing in the store forever. I think I just had it overpriced originally. Still sold pretty decently. Buyer is all in $57.84. That's something I'd probably still list today just because making a good profit. Boozy Bears. This is one of the like items I have a lot of in my store. Multi-quantity on. We sell one every month or two. We'll sell another one. We have different types. So these have like a giant flask inside of them, big enough to hold a whole bottle of wine. This is like the original classic design. We also have St. Patrick's Day. We have a Mexican Cinco de Mayo one. We've got a pirate. So anybody needing a weird drinking Christmas present, I've got you covered. Got a lot of those. And last but not least, this is a case to a Bernina. I'd sold this once before and the buyer canceled right before I shipped it out. I do have a giant box over here that I've been keeping on hand just for this thing, because this was like one of the biggest items in my store. I wanted to keep a box on hand for it. I paid $40 or $50 for this sewing machine, and just this case, the buyer is all in $89.62 just for this case. So that made all the money back from the sewing machine, although I've already sold probably $200 worth in parts off of that same machine. So I'm excited to see that big case gone so that we have more space. But anyways, that has been everything that we sold over the weekend. If you guys enjoy these types of videos where we just talk about whatever random topic we have for the day and just kind of talk about what's going on in my business, selling books, CDs, and DVDs on eBay and Amazon, go ahead and subscribe. And yeah, I'll see you guys next time. Goodbye.